So Astrid and I are just going to go through one or two of the exercises and just to show you how they work from a practical point of view. And we've chosen grade 2, and this is the first stage in grade 2. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do one of the rhythmical exercises. And so I'm going to do the pulse, and Astrid is going to tap or clap the line above the pulse. And in doing these, you know, I'd say have a good look at it first. And this is going to be the pulse, and so we'll have a look at that and look at the top line and get a good feel for it. We don't necessarily have to do it in our head before, but just have a good feel for what that top line is going to be about. And you understand all the ingredients, and all the various quavers and crotchets and things. So I'm going to tap one bar introduction, and then Astrid's going to tap the rhythm. So this is number 1 in grade 2. There we go. So 1. And there it is. And just by doing that, you know, we get a good idea of rhythmic shape, the way that rhythm fits with the pulse. And I want do every one of these. It's really important that you do these things quite systematically. You work through them, you think about them first, you kind of feel, I understand that, I'm ready now to go on to the next one. You look at it, you kind of feel the same thing, I understand that, and you go on, and you just build up this ability. So now, the melodic exercises take the rhythms, not exactly, but they take the rhythms and they put them into a melodic context. So we're going to do the first one, number 1 here. So I'm going to get Astrid to play the first note. So just that first note, the D. And what we notice here is that the first 3 notes are a D major triad. So again, without Astrid playing, I'm going to ask Astrid just to hear those notes, the D, F sharp A. Can you hear those notes in your head?
Yeah.
So we've got a very good, and just looking through the whole piece now, what we notice is that the whole piece is within those 2 notes, D, or 3 notes, D, F sharp A. The whole piece sits within that. So if I just to say to you, now that you've heard the first note, you've heard the other 2 notes in your head, look through the whole piece and maybe hear the whole piece in your head in real time, as it were, about bon. Did you feel that you kind of heard that piece in your head?
Yeah.
And you know, even if you feel, I'm not sure I got that right, it doesn't matter. Because if you do this systematically over a long period of time, every time you'll get a bit better. So have a go at playing it now. Possibly I might count in, but I'm not going to. I'm going to let Astrid kind of do her own counting and then play the piece. Which was exactly right. And did it sound like what you were expecting?
Yeah, it did.
And that's the way to do it. And so you just gradually go through, and I've written these pieces so they're all each one's got a slightly, and I'm not going to say more difficult because I don't believe in that concept, but a little bit more in it. And if you do one at a time, move forward, you will gradually build up the vocabulary and the understanding to sight read. The second section I call prepared pieces, and we get questions. And again, I'm not going to do the questions now. The questions are there to get you thinking about the music. They're the kind of questions I want you to ask yourself, kind of instinctively. You don't even have to really think them through. But as you're looking, you're asking yourselves these questions. They become kind of habitual. So have a look at this one here. It's marked, it's in D major again, of course. It's marked like a minuet. So I'm hoping Astrid is going to give a sort of slightly dancey feel to it. So have a look through that about 1, 2, and 3. So do you feel did you kind of feel, I get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Give it a go, see what happens. Again, I'm not going to count in. Sometimes I might, but I'm going to let Astrid just kind of feel the pulse. was exactly right. There's little bits to compose and improvise if you want to do that, and I explained in the last little video why that's useful. And then the final thing is there's a whole page of what I call going solo, which is just, in this particular case, 7 little tunes, all based on the ingredients that we've just been practicing. So it's just sight reading practice, exercise of sight reading practice. I've suggested here, before playing each piece, describe what you see with as much detail as possible. I'm not going to ask Astrid to do that today, but so what you're really doing there is just talking about what you see. The key, melodic shapes, patterns, like for example, the first bar and the second bar have the same rhythmic pattern. The second bar is 1 note higher than the first bar. And by beginning to spot those kind of things, we just know what we're seeing. And so inevitably, it's going to be much more accurate. So there it is. So have a look at that. Have a kind of think about those questions in your head.
Yeah.
And maybe play it through in your head, and then have a go at it when you're ready.
Okay.
And that was very good, and I think Astrid brought out the character very well there, which unusually is marked rudely. So for an exam point of view, that would score full marks. That would get full marks at an exam. And there's no reason why you shouldn't get full marks at sight reading, or always, because if you learn it in a systematic way, you understand what you're doing, it always works. And the advantages of being a good sight reader, as I said in the very first of these little videos, is extraordinary. So thank you very much indeed for playing with us today. Thank you.